Let's talk about it. Those stubborn dark spots, they just don't want to fade, right? We've all been there. But today, we're going to dig into some natural ways to really understand and tackle this thing called hyperpigmentation. And trust me, some of the answers are, well, they're not what you'd expect.
I mean, seriously, whether they're on your face, your hands, it doesn't matter. They're just so frustrating. But what if I told you the real solution isn't hiding in some super expensive cream? What if it's about understanding what's going on inside your body just as much as outside? Let's totally break it down.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll get clear on what these spots actually are. Then, we're going to play detective and hunt down 4 key triggers. After that, there's a wild twist involving the light in your own house. I'll show you a super simple DIY recipe, and we'll finish up with the one big idea you need to remember.
All right, let's start with the basics. What are we even talking about when we say dark spots?
So, the fancy word for it is hyperpigmentation. All that really means is that some patches of your skin start making way too much melanin. You know, the stuff that gives your skin its color. So those spots get darker. Simple enough, right? But the real question, the one we're here to answer, is why is this happening in the first place?
So what's the deal? What's causing this? Well, it turns out there's not just one bad guy here. Let's dive into the 4 main triggers that can basically flip the switch and send your melanin production into overdrive.
And cause number 1. Well, this one might surprise you, because it actually starts from the inside out.
You know how people talk about liver spots? Well, guess what? It's not just some old saying. Your liver is basically your body's main filtration system, and when it gets all congested and overloaded, toxins can build up. That buildup can trigger inflammation, and, you guessed it, excess melanin. So those spots are kind of like a little SOS signal from your body telling you to look at what's going on inside.
Okay, moving on to number 2. This one is also an internal thing, and it's something that a lot of women deal with.
It's often called melasma, and it's all about hormones. Think about big hormonal shifts, like during pregnancy. Those fluctuating hormones can send a message to your skin's little pigment factories, called melanocytes, and tell them to start working overtime. The result? Those darker patches of skin. All right, number 3. This trigger is something most of us have probably experienced. It's all about how your skin heals. The official name is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is a mouthful, I know, but basically, you know that annoying dark mark that hangs around forever after a pimple is gone? That's it. The inflammation from the breakout itself, especially if you couldn't resist picking at it, tells those same pigment factories to pump out extra color as part of the healing process. So frustrating.
And that brings us to number 4. This is the one we all think we know, but there's a twist.
Right, so we all know about the sun. We've had wear sunscreen drilled into our heads for years, and for good reason. But what if that's only half the picture? What if there's another type of light, one you're sitting in for hours every single day, that could actually be a bigger problem? Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. Because what if the light that's causing those stubborn, long-lasting dark spots isn't coming from the sun at all? What if it's coming from the screen you're watching this on right now? This is the big one. This is the part that blows my mind. Research is actually showing that when it comes to creating that really deep, persistent hyperpigmentation, the artificial blue light that we're all surrounded by can be even more powerful than UV sunlight. Just let that sink in for a minute. So where is all this blue light coming from? Well, look around. It's your phone, your computer screen, the LED lights in your house, the fluorescent lights at the office. We are literally swimming in this stuff all day, every day.
And this isn't just a theory. The science is solid. Researchers have directly linked this constant exposure from our screens, from our lights, to that trigger that tells our skin to make more melanin, which of course leads to hyperpigmentation.
Okay, wow. So that's a lot to think about on the problem side of things. But enough doom and gloom. Let's pivot to the solution. And the great news is there's a super simple, really powerful, and completely natural remedy you can literally make in your kitchen. And I mean it when I say simple. All you need is 1 tablespoon of aloe vera gel. You can use the stuff from a bottle or, even better, fresh from the plant, and just mix that with the juice from about half a lemon. Then, right before bed, just use your finger or a cotton swab to dab it right onto the dark spots. Pop the rest in a little container in the fridge, and you're good for about a week. It's such a perfect combo, right? The lemon helps to gently lighten things up, and the aloe is so soothing and healing for the skin. So we've gone through the causes, we've got a great topical solution, but what's the big picture here? What's the one thing you really need to walk away with? Here it is. This is the most crucial part.
Hyperpigmentation isn't just a skin deep problem. It's a sign from your whole body. You can't just slap a cream on a spot and expect a miracle. Real lasting success comes from looking at it from both sides. You've got to support your internal health, your liver, your hormones, and at the same time, manage the external stuff, like your exposure to blue light and using these natural remedies.
And that brings me to my final question for you. A little piece of homework, if you will. Now that you know this, now that you know how much your environment matters, just take a second and look around you. Right now. What in your room, in your home, in your office, could be affecting your skin without you even realizing it?